Technology is not my thing.
Yep, mine either. And
I even had gotten this like microphone thing. Can't get it to work.
well, I just figured out that the camera I got does have a microphone. I was like, because earlier I thought, oh no, I didn't get a microphone, but apparently they just come with microphones now, which I should have known, but oh well.
And if you don't know, I know, like, that was like when I got my webcam, I'm like, I can't believe I just bought a webcam. Like, so it's like, this is so weird for me.
Yeah.
So not something I ever. Oh, hi.
Well, I just figured out that the camera I got does have a microphone. I was like, because earlier.
Okay, I think we might be live.
Oh no, I didn't get a microphone, but they just come with my.
Let me see. Sorry. Sorry guys.
Microphones now.
We're getting weird things here. How we doing? Justin.
Test.
Trying to figure out this this live bit. We thought we would jump on live here. I've got my good friend Justin.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's great.
Yeah. Here, I just wanted to set some things we were kind of talking about offline here.
Yeah.
Things like that. So I just want to clear some energy here. Okay. Welcome everyone. Happy autumn equinox, Mabon. That's why I wanted to bring Justin on tonight. And then we got on, I was having some issues. Justin was super patient. And then I was like, hey, you want to go live? Because I feel like some people might have questions about this. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, I'm happy to share and answer any questions as best as I can. So
yeah, so a little bit about, like, we met, I think, originally through Lily Nova Starseeds chat, and then like a small group of us have kind of ventured off into our own little chat group, you know, like a more intimate chat group where, you know, we just talk about everything and anything, and we really support each other. And Justin's definitely one of the people that anytime he is like does a video or a little voice clip, I'm like listening, because you have the most amazing wisdom and knowledge that you share, and so uplifting all the time. And we realized that you know, autumn equinox and Mabon is something that we both celebrate.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, because of, you know, indoctrination and things that we're made to believe, they hear about these types of things and they think that it's a negative thing, or they think like dark witchcraft or something. They think paganism is all dark, right? Because that's what we've been made to believe.
Yeah.
But really, it's, I mean, and anything can be light and dark. So I'm not saying that there's not people that, you know, are maybe pagans that don't do dark stuff. There definitely would be, you know.
Yeah.
But it's honoring the seasons, right? It's honoring the elements, earth, air, fire, water. It's honoring Mother Gaia, right?
Yeah.
And like, I personally, with my kids and my family, we don't celebrate like what are they even called? You know, like Christmas and Easter and all those, like, to me, they're like superficial, like consumerism, like these things that actually stem from pagan holidays and tradition. They've just changed the name, and they usually change it a few days.
Yeah.
But like, what are your views on it? What are some of the your feelings around like the equinoxes and the solstices, things like Yule and, you know, Ishtar, all these
Yeah.
amazing.
Well, thank you. That's a great question. I feel like, you know, we have these different titles for these things, and the dates have been shifted just so much. But we recognize, if we're in tune with ourselves and with God, with Source, we recognize the energy at these times of year, and it's very important. Mabon specifically, or maybe more accurately, like we can say the autumn equinox. There are, like, I was looking at the, you know, the history of Mabon, and there's a lot of different places where it might come from. But really what we're getting down to is it's the time of year where we're gathering the harvest, and we have this collective memory of doing this, of preparing for these cold months that are coming, because that's inherent to our survival. And it's that inherent knowledge that, you know, that they try to kind of shift us away from, by like having the dates, you know, messed up and everything, and making it a more superficial thing, like Easter bunnies and all that. And I mean, I'll be honest, like, I do love, like, my kids and I do love dressing up in costumes and everything, and that's fun. And I think that there are ways to celebrate where you're not, you know, like, I'm not wanting to honor negative aspects of these things, but I'm wanting to take that inherent positive aspects of these times of years and connect with them, and connect with Source, you know, through meditation, through ritual, in a way that helps me align with Source and doesn't like drive me away from it, you know.
Yeah.
And just kind of keep it to be like this superficial thing, and then you just kind of feel like, well, like it becomes like a societal pressure, like, okay, now we have to celebrate this, and you know,
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like that. It should
Right.
be natural. And I think that, like, I think that we want to do that. I think that, like, people naturally want to do that, but then they're kind of hoodwinked by the superficial side of it all. And you know, and then it's kind of thrown off, and then it's all like condemned as bad.
Yeah.
And so we either are misaligned or we miss out, and it's unfortunate because we're not, you know, benefiting from that connection.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So true. It's so true. And you know, a little bit about, so hi, welcome to everybody who is in the chat and joining us. If you guys have questions, definitely throw them out to Justin and I will do our best to answer them. A little bit about what the autumn equinox is, if anybody doesn't know, because it is something that's not talked about, right? Like, we don't learn about this if you're in school and stuff. But it's so basically, this is day and night are equal today. We are at that equal point. So that this is when the sun crosses the celestial equator. So it's like the center point that it's crossing, which gives us that equal day and equal night. So we're going to start entering, as you mentioned, into the winter months, into the cooler months. So our days start to become shorter, like our daylight becomes shorter. And it's all about, like, you know, you are harvesting, you know, with the last full moon, the harvest full moon, that's always the closest full moon to the autumn equinox. It gives the farmers and people who have gardens and stuff, it gives you that little bit of extra moonlight so that you could get your harvest done, right? And if you think about going into the colder months, you know, it's usually a time of rest and contemplation. I'm saying that word wrong. I hope you guys know what I'm saying. But you know, like, slowing down, right? And like, this is a really good time to like cleanse and clear, both you know, yourself, A lot of things will be coming up for you right now, but also your house, right? Like go through your house, do a good cleaning, get rid of things that no longer serve you anymore, that may be holding you back, or, you know, just piling up. It's a really good time for that. Balance. I always think about balance when it comes to the equinoxes and the solstices, because it is that day and night. But as of today, we actually just entered Libra season, which again is the balance. So I feel like we're really being hit right now with balance, you know, like, I know you've got quite a bit to share about the equinox. I'll go into Libra season in a little bit. I wanted to kind of hear what you've got. So much great stuff to share.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I just wanted to add to that. We're also seeing the end of an old financial system, and something wholly more natural, you know, more aligned with humanity coming forth. And so it's a great time for us to do this kind of clearing and to let go of some of those old energies for so many reasons. But I think this year especially is going to be tremendous. So we'll see. But there seems to be a lot on the horizon, and I'm looking forward to it. I know it sounds challenging, but I'm looking forward to it, and I think we're going to come out and it's just going to be such an incredibly transformative time and a tremendous experience once we get to the other side. So
I agree. Yeah. So is there anything like, what are some of the things like, so manifestation is a really good thing to focus on, you know, during the equinox. Like, what kind of things are you wanting to, well, first letting go. Like I talked about, like letting, a lot of things are coming up, and I mean, you've probably noticed this too, right? In different chats or talking with different people, a lot of people have a lot of stuff coming up, and there may be things coming up that you feel like you've already worked through, and they're coming up again, right? So it is giving you that chance to, we're still in the Mercury retrograde too, so we're given that chance to slow down and to really go inward and focus of like, what do we want to let go? This is such a good time to just go inward, you know. What timeline do you want to be on, right? Like, just going back to the, like, we are the creators of our life, and like you said, like using this time of year, like working with Mother Gaia, with the changing of the seasons, this is the perfect time to like let it go, manifest and focus on what you want, and remember that you have the power to do that. Like, you are in control of your life. You know?
Absolutely. There about 5 years ago, there was a ritual that I stumbled across, and I was first starting to learn about manifestation, about Nikola Tesla, and about frequency, and how, you know, aligning with a certain frequency brings certain things into your life, and certain people and certain events and all of that. And so often we're kind of trained to speak negative things over ourselves, and we lower our frequency by doing that. And the media doesn't help, but you know, the more we learn how to elevate our like I constantly think of the quote, like, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, instead of thinking in terms of like labels or whatever, or dogma. Think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And there's so much potential healing if we start doing that. And when there's a particular ritual that I did, and I'd love to share it with you all later, but I also want to give full credit to the person who did it, who I learned it from. Her name is Jenna, and she has a YouTube channel called The White Witch Parlor. And she did this Mabon manifestation ritual. And, you know, at the time I was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, and I understand, like, you know, more positive that you are, the more likely you are to attract positive, things into your life. But I didn't realize like on what kind of scale, this that can affect things. And so at the time, I'd been trying to find a house. With my family and I were living in an apartment, and I had a very we had something in mind that we were looking for, and kind of wanted to find like something that was in the woods, that was kind of like cabiny, that kind of thing, and really just like kind of look for it and start, kind of just put that out there. And I noticed that Jenna, when she talked about this, she talked about how she had used it to manifest the ideal house for herself. And it was really incredible. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. I'll give it a try. So I did, and it's a fun little ritual. And, it's important to know that like ritual isn't about, if it's done right, it shouldn't be about having something out yourself control you. It's about you connecting with the divine, with source within, and really integrating that, letting go of your preconceived notions of how something has to go, and letting it flow, letting what you really truly desire in your heart, what in your heart, flow to you. And that's
We may have lost you.
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, there you go. No, you're back. You're back.
Sorry.
The end part got cut off there.
Okay.
After the flow.
Okay. So yeah, so like learning how to let it flow to us, and letting like what inspires us kind of guide us and flow to us, instead of being attached to things happening a certain way. And anyway, went ahead and tried it, and shortly after that, turns out like the manager I was working under was also a realtor, and she found like the ideal house. And turns out one of my closest friends, his manager was the one selling the house. And it was like, what, like, and then like everything just kind of went into place from there. And yeah, so it was incredible, and one thing after another. And I'm so grateful for that experience, because it really showed me how much power we do have, not in the sense of like trying to force others to do things, or like force power over others, but power we have over ourselves to connect with God, with the divine source, God, Goddess, and knowing that we have that inherent connection within, and working from it, because we've been so badly thrown off of that ability or that perception, that it's made life so much harder for us.
So true.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at obviously everything that has happened to the indigenous people in North America, and probably other places as well. I just, because we live in North America, I know, and they are, my background is part Native American as well, and like, they still are, but I mean, traditionally, they were the most connected, to source, to Mother Gaia, to the changing of the seasons, to the traditional medicines that, that grow from Mother Gaia, and it makes so much sense why all the things that happened to them and still happen to them, why it was them that they attacked, right? Because why did they, if you look at how the church literally burned like men and women who
Yeah.
were healers and herbalists and
Yeah.
people who, you know, all like people, like human beings, right? And others like went along with it because it was the church doing it.
Right.
And it just, you know, when you start really like opening up, you know, opening up your mind and being willing to like look at things and come from it from an open mind and an open heart. And I'm not saying that everyone's going to agree with us. Everybody has their own truth. But for me personally, that's when I really found like a lot of the things that I always connected to, but then I would almost feel bad or guilty for because I was told that it was wrong or it was evil. And, you know, it was just like, it just didn't make sense to me. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is all from source. This is from God.
Yeah.
I've spoken about this on a few other videos too, is that like, I have never had a stronger connection to God, to my angel guides and my ancestors than I do now in this last while where I've really connected more.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny how a lot of, you know, religious people I know, they always have to turn it and you know, they'll throw Bible quotes at me and stuff. And it's like, I don't go outside of me to have a connection with source and with God. Like it's the connection is here.
Yeah.
And, you know, things like Reiki, energy work, all these different things, like that does come directly from source. Like,
yeah.
But again, we've been programmed to think that these, because they're so powerful, right? It's like when people start realizing this, that we ourselves are powerful, it takes that power away from the controllers.
Absolutely.
You know, like,
yeah.
I love that story about like how, you know, you put this in and then it just all aligns, and that just shows how powerful we are. Like when you really tap into it and you tap into, you know, and even the word ritual, people hear that because it has been, I'm not saying that there hasn't been evil rituals. We all know that there still is evil rituals, but like even just that word, I think people get triggered from that, right?
Yeah. I've been triggered by that word, you know. I get it. Yeah. It's like there's positive and negative uses for everything. I mean, you know, you have the analogy of like a hammer can be used to kill somebody or it can be used to build a house. And it's really, really important. I think that people start to learn to rediscover that, you know, we have these gifts that are given to us, and we have either been, we've thought that they're all bad, we have to just throw them away, or that only certain special people get to, you know, use them because they're better than everyone else. So, or, you know, that kind of thing. Even like this is going to be like a challenging one for people, because it was for me for a while. But like from what I've researched when it comes to the pentagram, like it was originally used to represent chem, like the ancient Egypt, and alchemy, which means the science of overcoming the blackness, like overcoming the darkness. And it may have also been related to one of Noah's sons, Ham. There's a lot more about that in the book called Genesis of the Grail Kings by Lawrence Gardner. And I think it's really important for us to consider, you know, we're shown Jesus doing all of these incredible things. And he even says, like, you know, the kingdom of heaven is within you. You know, we're all connected. Like people just either completely overlook that or they forget about it. And they're thinking of, like, they're externalizing God and externalizing their connection. And it's further done through the religions and through the education system or the miseducation system and the media. And I've come to like kind of say, like, you know, look at things try to look at things holistically, you know, like where did these things fit together? And there was a time where I was like, you know, completely like throwing out the Bible because I was like, I'm like so done with this. Like, this is just frustrating. And like, you know, there's like like, because from the religious perspective, you either have to like take everything in the Bible at face value and externalize your connection to God, or it's, you know, or you don't, or it's not relevant. But in reality, like there's a lot of truth there that has unfortunately been misportrayed, misinterpreted, and miswritten. But it also, there's so much that is from ancient texts and ancient wisdom, you know, that that we're only now really starting to rediscover the truth of this. And I think that we're going to start to see a lot more of that come out in the near future. At least I hope so. But I think we will too. I get like a strong feeling that we will. So,
yeah. That's so true. I love that you brought up the pentagram, because that is a big one that I think has been, I mean, it's been inverted, right? And a lot of people see it and they automatically think negativity, they think evil. But the pentagram literally represents the 4 elements and source, or ether. Some people will say ether, which is source, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what it represents, you know. I mean, there's archangels that work with the pentagrams, you know. And but again, but this is, again, I know I got this originally from Bryce. She always talks about this, and the first time I heard it, it made so much sense. With the darkness cannot create anything. Like it doesn't create, it takes. It's only the light source that creates. So they have taken things, you know, many different powerful things like the pentagram, and they invert it, right? Like even when they do work with the pentagram, it literally is upside down, inverted, you know, because they're literally turning source upside down. And that's where, like, yes, of course, all of these things have also been used in negative aspects, but as so many things have, right? I mean, again, when you go to like burning of witches or women and men who were healers, and people who were herbalists, and, you know, like, I mean, is that okay? Because it happened in the church, right? Like that's where it's like, it's your intent. We talked about this last night on the round table that I was on. It's all about your intent, you know, and I've always believed in, you know, whatever you put out there is going to come back to you in threefold. So the last thing I'm going to do is do anything negative, is, you know, you don't go against anybody's like free will, you know. So like, really being mindful of that kind of stuff. Like when you're manifesting stuff, you have to make sure that like, it's with pure intent, and like you said, the flow of it, right? Because what we're thinking may not be what source has planned for us. You know, God may have a different way. It may come to us, but it may not be the way that we, you know, our 3D mind kind of thinks of it, right? Or maybe that's not the right thing for us, and something even more magical will come of it later down the road, right?
You just had an orb go over your head, by the way.
Oh, really? That's awesome. I love it. I wanted to chat with you too to see. So I have one of my best friends. She's so beautiful, and she is, when it comes to the solstices and the equinoxes and really connecting with the earth, like she's the one that I always reach out to, because she's so connected. She's so gifted in doing like, you know, big gatherings, even not does it have to be big with like people, but like she puts so much intention and so much love to it. Erin, if you see this, you know I'm talking about you. But she's so, I just love how she incorporates things with it. And so a lot of times I'll be like, what do you got planned for this? Or, you know, a lot of the things that I started incorporating are things that she's done, right? Because I didn't grow up with this kind of stuff. I grew up, you know, Catholic. And then after high school, I actually, on my own, like I became a born again Christian. which I always tell people I called myself a bohemian Christian because I never fit into like the box of being Christian.
Yeah.
And I questioned things. There was things I didn't resonate with, and things like crystals and all that they said was wrong or evil. But so it was like, it wasn't until actually another friend of mine, Sonia, who's now moved away, but she celebrated solstice and Yule and all these things. So that's how I first got introduced to it. And then, like I said, my best friend, Erin, she creates the most beautiful gatherings, and even for like full moons and new moons, blessing ways, all of it. Like, she's just so gifted in that. So I'm learning like a lot more from her, and just finding my own way too, and things that, as I research things. Today we did, my kids and I, we went on a walk this morning. We just collected some fallen leaves and some pine cones, and I tried the trees that had apples. They were all like either really bad or squished, but we found some little berries, just little things that we just made. We added them to our little table, and just kind of by my pumpkin,
That's awesome.
And then I'll probably do before bed, I may do some intentions and stuff. But what are some of the things that you like to do?
Well, and I also just wanted to add, like, so I think the term witch has been really, really misused as well.
Yes.
My understanding is that witch means wise woman. And there's even like a part in the Old Testament where they changed it to "thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." That was changed from my understanding, that was changed in the King James Version, because Latin didn't exist when they wrote the Old Testament. So there's no way that that's what it could have said. What it originally meant was an evil doer.
Yeah.
And when, now we have like all these like horror movies and stuff, or like witches are often portrayed as someone who's like, and I think people pick up on this, and so they start to do it, where they're trying to manipulate other people. Yeah. And you do have those dark ones, like the Hillarys and those people, unfortunately, and they've used the media and everything else because they know about our co-creative power that we have, and if they can control that, then they can get what they want. But now that we're becoming more aware, it's so important for us to be aware, because then we can help each other create a better world, as we're understanding that we're all connected. Yeah. And anyway, so I also like to go out. Sorry, just
no, I love that you brought that up, because I did before you. Sorry, I don't want to, because I want to hear what you do. No, but I had somebody that I had become friends with in the freedom group that I was a part of. I think she had just seen a lot of the things that I have around my house, or that I talk about, and she had asked one of our other friends, like, "Is Tanya a witch?" And so my friend asked me, she was like, "I don't know, she's asking if you're a witch." And I was like, well, again, I don't like labels. Like, yeah. And it was like, if she wants to say that, yeah, like, is that because I'm a healer and I work with herbs and essential oils and I honor Mother Gaia? But I too am connected to source, but it's different because she's very religious, right?
Yeah.
So again, in her mind, she had this idea, this negative idea of what a witch was. And it was like, after that, I feel like anything she knew of me, like got to know of me, was just all out the door. So it was like, oh, she's a witch, right?
Yeah.
It was just like, I haven't changed who I am. I'm still the same person that I was like yesterday, but now you have this like idea because, again, of the indoctrination.
Yeah. I had a similar upbringing too, and similar experiences. Became a born again Christian too. And it really, there is a lot of good there. Like, it's really about the heart transformation.
Yeah.
And where you're coming from. And anyway, yeah, like it's really important. People are starting to learn the difference. And we are up against, as there's like the wholesale organization that's been done by the church of healers and of people who have tried to work in that way. And then we have the movies and everything. And so like it's a lot. I think people will start to wake up once they get past certain things.
Yeah.
But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, I do like to do lots of little things, like a new one that I started doing this year, which just kind of gets me in the feeling of it, is to like start sprinkling cinnamon on my front door. And like when you walk in the house, like you kind of get that aroma, feel like that connection, and it reminds you of fall, you know, and it just feels wonderful. And that's something that I've just started doing. Here, I'm in Alabama, and we have these really cool flowers that have actually they've been dubbed Equinox flowers, but they're also known as spider lilies, like red spider lilies. And every time when they start to bloom, I get really excited because I know that means like it's like autumn equinox time. They're native to Japan, and they have a lot of different like connotations and different stories. Like I think you know, I won't get into all of it just because it's a lot of history, but kind of like everything else we've been talking about, there's positive and negative connotations. But for me, like I enjoy them as like a symbol of the time of the year, the autumn equinox and everything, and it's really cool to see them. And you know,
beautiful.
Yeah, aren't they? Like, and it's that kind of thing that I enjoy finding and bringing in the house, or just enjoying in nature when I can. So yeah, those are some of the things I like to do besides the Mabon ritual, and just kind of, you know, listening to certain music that just kind of gets you into that mood, in certain sense, like anything that's like apple, spicy cinnamon, that kind of thing, pumpkin, you know, all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got some good essential oil blends that I bring out, you know, this time of year, and it's all, yeah, like you said, it's got cinnamon, it's got, you know, like all the like really like fall warm feeling, right? Like
yeah.
that warm feeling. But did you mention something, I think in the group that we're in, about an apple, right? Do you have a ritual that you do with an apple?
Yeah. So I'll talk about that. And I'll kind of, if you want, I can do like a walkthrough. I won't do the whole, like I won't do the ritual because it'll take a long time, but I'll just kind of like do a walkthrough to give people an idea. And then if you want to actually do the ritual, try look at the White Witch Parlor's Mabon ritual video, and she gives you a full-on walkthrough as well. So you're going to need some certain implements that will help. And there's like a lot of ways you can do it. You don't have to do it like one specific way. But it does involve apples and cinnamon, and so it really gets you into the spirit of it. So the way it kind of works, I'm just going to move my camera to show like the different elements.
Yeah.
And let's see. Okay. So can you see this apple right in front of me?
You might have to bring a little bit lower.
A little bit lower, okay. I should have known, but oh well.
Oops, sorry.
You don't know. Sorry. I know, like that was like.
Sorry, that was me. I accidentally unmuted the.
That's okay. So let's see. Okay, so yeah, you're basically what you're going to do is you're gonna carve, like use an apple, where you are going to start by finding, just finding like a good apple. If you can find a local apple, that that helps. Like it kind of feels more authentic that way. But if not, just try to find something organic, like ideally not a painted Chinese apple. And what you're going to want to start with is relaxing into a meditative state, and just kind of connecting to God and to Source, and to feeling that connection that we share. And the first thing, honestly, I recommend doing like any of this before you start, because this is one thing that I kind of differ from what you video. because what you're going to need is you're going to need a place to put a candle in the top. And you also may want to cut the bottom off so that it's more stable, because you're going to be putting a candle in this and lighting it. So I tend to do that first before everything else. So the steps are, you kind of relax, you get into that meditative state, and you basically take your intention, figure out what your intention is. What are you trying to manifest? Take some time to meditate on it. Get some sage and, hold that intention and sage the apple and let the smoke flow over it. And then what you're going to do after that is you'll want to have a bowl of water and some sea salt. And some people like to use like colored salt. If you have something like that, that's great. But as long as you have like sea salt, that's ideal. And then you're going to basically, you can either like kind of do like a clockwise motion, holding that intention, and make a circle, or you can make a pentacle, or whatever feels right to you. And at that point, the water is a reminder to help us flow with God, with the universe. And that's why we use it at this point. And then you'll want to have some kind of a crystal, like a clear quartz. You can use it to stir the salt and like let it mix with the water. After that, you'll want to, at that point is when you'll want to take your apple, and you've already got it with the hole cut in the top and maybe the bottom. You can use some kind of knife or athame to carve like what you're trying to manifest. So you've already been thinking about it, meditating on it, and then I like to sometimes use runes for like health or abundance or that kind of thing, and just carve it into the apple. Obviously, if you're working with kids, and this can be a fun thing to do with kids, go ahead and use like a Sharpie instead. And then once you've got that figured out, once you've got that part done, you place your apple in the water, and then you take your candle, and you may wanted to have cut one of these short just so it's not too long. And you put it in the top like that. I'll try and raise this up a little bit. Here we go. Yeah. And then the candle, and while you lit that candle, then what you're going to do is basically take that time to sit and continue holding that intention and meditate and feel your connection in your spirit to source. And just let that really I don't even know what the right word is, but just kind of, work with you, let God work with you and work through you. And then at you can do that for as long as you like. And then at the very end, you'll want to get some cinnamon, and you just kind of sprinkle that around the apple. Some cinnamon symbolizes abundance and all kinds of other good things. And that's largely it. Now, I mean, I will, to be honest, like I'll sometimes sit there for, I'm gonna move the camera back up, but I'll sometimes sit there for quite a while, just holding that intention, that manifestation. And then as you're at the point where you're done, then you're going to let it go. And you're gonna like let it go to God, let it go to the universe, and just trust that it will come when the time is right. And
I love that.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna do that tonight, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I cannot tell you how enjoyable, how just how much it you feel connected to the divine and at one with everything. So yeah, it's absolutely a wonderful, wonderful way to do that. And,
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was, yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna do that. I love
yeah,
it.
I think too, like, you know, it's a good thing if you're able to like do it as like a family with your kids, you know, and maybe have them like think of something that they might want to help manifest, or you know, whatever. Like I think it could be a really fun like kind of family thing. And it's not really well known, but but it's a lot of fun and it really works, you know, and yeah.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing that.
absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and like I mean, like we said, this is the time to focus on manifestation, right? And really connecting with the elements. And I mean that brought the elements in there. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. And you can do it anytime. Like, you know, some people like to try to do it on the equinox, but really you can do it anytime around the equinox, or even like anytime in the fall.
Yeah.
Um, and you're just kind of like, you know, meditating on the energy of the abundance that, you know, have been coming in from, I guess, the harvest, or, you know, what you've brought in.
Yeah. Well,
And
and
just,
that's the thing too, is that like it's not just like a one day thing. You know,
yeah.
it is like we're in the energy of the equinox. We also have the new moon coming up, which is another amazing
Oh,
time to manifest,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
think about that.
so it's, you know, if people are catching this, you know, we're late tonight, or if they catch it in the morning, they're like, oh, I missed it. You didn't miss anything. You can still do this, you know, like
Yeah.
that's why I love how, you know, like there's no right or wrong way, right? There's no like, you got to do it at this time and only this time. You know, it doesn't work like that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, source is always there, right? Always there. You just got to call, you know, that's the biggest thing I found with like working a lot more with angels and
Mm.
my, you know, my angel guides and my guardian angels. It's like, you got to call on them, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And once you call on them, like they're there and you can feel it.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
yeah. Yeah. And so another thing I wanted to mention about, you know, this time of year is like really connecting, you know, to Mother Gaia. So like I really encourage people, like, get outside, you know. I mean, the change of the season, as much as I love summer, like I'm a sun person, so I really love the summer. But the beauty of fall is definitely one of my, like, it's probably my favorite season in that aspect of just like the changing the colors. Like I've always been a fall color. I love how seeing everything change, and
Oh, me
it's,
too,
you
yeah.
know, so it's like really like taking that in, you know, getting outside, like I said, get your feet, like take your shoes off, get your socks off, get your feet on the ground. This is a big time about like you said, the abundance and
Yes.
gratitude, right? Like just being really grateful right now for like all that you have in this now moment. And that's a big part of like with manifestation, right? Is really focusing, not just manifesting what you want, but like feeling that feel of already being there. Like it's that trusting of like, I have the power to create this, and this is what it feels like to have this in my life, and then to be grateful for that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, yeah. That's so true.
So to talk a little bit about well, the new moon, but also like I mentioned at the beginning that today we've also entered Libra season, which again is all about the balance. It's about harmony, and it's about choice, right? Like we're in a time right now that like we said, a lot's coming up for people, a lot to do with relationships. So, relationships, really looking at your relationships with others and relationship with yourself, like the relationship with yourself. What things need to, you know, be let go of? Where do you need to work through things? Where do you have healing to do still? And just like, again, like sitting back and taking that time to really focus on like, what are your relationships like with people? What are your relationships like with yourself? What is that internal, you know, that internal dialogue that you have? What things are you telling yourself on a daily basis? Or I
Yeah.
mean, like our words and our thoughts are so, so powerful. And I feel like as a society, we're so used to just calling in everything that's like wrong or negative, you know, like what I said, what I just got, I'm getting over right now, but I made the intention to not say, I'll say it now just because I'm over it. But like, I made the intention to not say that I was sick. Like I was like, I'm not calling that in. So I focused on like, I am healthy, I am free from any sickness, disease, disorder, you know, and then really working with like, I did extra like meditations and extra like work with my angel guides to like really make sure I was protected to this time, and boosted myself, right? Like I took the time to rest. Like when we were chatting before, like so grateful for my mom and my daughters helping me with my little guy and you know, just to have that time to be like, I need to rest. Like I can't be my best self if I'm trying to push through this. And then I've got amazing supplements and essential oils and herbs to be taking, right? But it is like really focusing on protection in times of when you are lower like that, and
absolutely
making sure that you are like extra protected. So another thing I wanted to talk about was, so Libra is ruled by the sign of, or the planet Venus. So which again works into the whole relationship aspects. Venus is love, right? I mean, a lot of people are really feeling like their heart expanding, and like I've had so many moments where I'm just like, I literally feel my heart like exploding. You know, and other people may be feeling like heartache, like a lot of heartache right now, right? Because it's, you know, this time of year, these energies are showing you the areas that we need to work on, that we still need to heal. But I feel like a lot of people may have like new relationships come in, and meeting new people, and just encouraging people to like really be open to that. Because I mean, within this last 3 years, a lot of us, like, we forget how to interact around people, and like, how do you go out, and like, you know, I mean, like so many of us have been pushed out of society, like literally not able, I mean, in Canada, at least, it was like, it's still, I think things are starting to lift in Canada right now, but it was bad. Like you couldn't do anything here if you did not do this, you know, like,
oh, I hear you.
You know, so it's just real. Like, I encourage people right now to just open yourself up, be willing to like meet new people. I mean, I'm sorry, the chat, I'm looking at the chat, but I haven't been going in. But you know, the amount of people that I've met through the chat, like these are people that are like, this is my tribe, you know. I mean, even yourself, like I wouldn't have connected with you if it wasn't for like being willing and open to like talk to people and get to know people, and you know, through you know, different channels, and however it is that you're meeting, like you're meeting these people because you have things in common, right? Or you're on kind of similar paths, and you know, your journey's kind of taking you on the same kind of area. So these are your people, right? And this is the time. Like I feel like a lot of I just feel like a lot of relationships are gonna maybe come up through this, or changing through this, right? Like it's like a mirror season, if you think of it that way, right? Like this season is really going to show you like the areas of your life you need to work on. And also, like I always say, when there's, you know, when you see something in somebody that you really like, or you're triggered, that's because that's part of you, right? So if you're triggered by somebody's doing, there's something inside of you need to work on. But if you see something you really like in somebody, that is a part of you, you know. And it's so beautiful, like when you start to like see everybody as, you know, we each have something to kind of share with each other, and to help each other grow on this journey. And we don't all, the best part is we don't all have to be the same, You know, we
Right.
are all unique. We all have our own light that we're shining. You know, shine it bright without overpowering, right? Like, don't come at it with like this overpowering, but shine it. Like, shine your uniqueness. Let that, what is it, that, what do they call it, the freak flag, but the weirdness, like,
Yeah.
I love the word weird. Like, I don't want to be normal.
No, that's boring.
Right?
Yeah. Enough of that.
Exactly. I don't want to fit into these boxes of like,
Yeah.
this is how you have to do something, or this is how you have to look. And
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I was talking on the other day about somebody that was giving him a hard time. And I said, you know, look at how hard this is. But look at it, see if you can look at it like this. And I was talking to myself as much as I was talking to him. Like, think of that person as like, you know, we're all connected. Think of that person as maybe whatever they're doing, that aspect of themselves. Like, think of that as like an unhealed part of you. Like, think of that as a part of you that, you know how it feels like when you get stung, or when you like hurt, you know, hurt your finger or something like that, and how it makes you angry, and how it makes you, you know, rah, like, and all that. And you know, and it's interesting, like, looking at how he responds now to things, like when I'm with him, and like he'll be like mad about something, you know, be like, I wanted to go do this thing or whatever, and then like later on he'll come back to me and be like, Dad, I'm sorry. I was just in a bad place. Can you please forgive me? I was like, of course, you know? Yeah, I already did, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're recognizing it. And for me, like, doing that shadow work, like when I'm getting triggered by something that someone else does or is doing, and like I'm like, oh, I can't, you know, I can't change, like I can't control this. Like, we have that, like, I want to control this. I want to, you know, make it this way. But the importance of like saying, wait a minute, why is that triggering me? Like, what do I need to work through and heal? And that, like, and then, you know, you kind of get that aha moment of like, oh, that's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is that like, you can't just be all light. Like, that's not balance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Both the equinox and the Libra season is all about balance, and
Yeah.
you can't just be living all in the light. You have to do that shadow work. And
Yeah.
you know, when you are triggered, you got to work through that. Like, that there's a reason why. And you know, realizing too, like, I feel like we've, because of you know, all these different apps and all these, you know, social media, people have become so reactive, right?
Yeah.
It's like they always have to say something, you know. It's like they can't just scroll by something if they don't agree with it.
Yeah.
They have to, you know, you have to, and you're putting energy into those things. Like, where are you really wanting to put your energy? And do you really, does what somebody said or what somebody posted, does that really, like, is that really where you want to put your energy?
Yeah.
Or like, do you really need to react to that? And again, that's like the ego aspect of like wanting to get on there and say our 2 bits. And it's like, sometimes you can just let it go, like, you know?
Exactly.
And a lot of that has been coming up. You know, we've seen that a lot in so many of the groups, right? Where it's like, we were talking about before, like, you know, kind of disconnecting. It's a really good time to disconnect and to go, like we said, go inwards, get out in nature, because there is a lot going on right now, you know, in the truther community, in the spiritual community, in everywhere. There's just like so much like static. I always say it's like the static that's like, really, does any of that matter? Because what matters to me is like my path, my connection to God, to source, my kids, you know, a lot of that doesn't matter. Like, if, I mean, I love that I've been able to connect with so many amazing people through these kind of like, through YouTube and, you know, Telegram and stuff like that. But sometimes it's like, it takes so much of your energy, and then you're getting away from, right? Like, it's like,
Absolutely.
it's, Let's see. I want to see, does anybody in the chat have questions about like the autumn equinox, Mabon, anything that we're talking about?
Being weird and awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I just throw in any questions if you've got questions. Justin and I can do our best to answer them. I mean, obviously, we're both, we're all learning. That's why I say, like, I'm always learning. I feel like I'll continue learning until my last day in this incarnation will be, and that's the amazing part of it, right? Like, I love the fact that, having my kids at home and being able to, unschool them, I get to learn with them, so it's like, what kind of things do I want to learn about? What kind of things do you guys want to learn about, opposed to like what we're told that they have to believe.
Right.
All these things in school that like I never resonated with. I was not good in school unless I was doing like where I was actually working hands-on. Like I was using my hands in like sewing, home ec. Auto shop was like my absolute favorite class. Woodworking. I didn't like drafting. That one just I couldn't. But all the other classes, like it's just like it didn't make sense with me. And like some of the stuff I do with my kids, I'm telling my daughter, I'm like, you know what? I learned that and I've never used it since. Never. Like, and it's just like, so I'm like, what do you want to learn? Like, focus on that. Like my oldest daughter is an amazing artist. Actually, both my girls, my youngest is also, she's starting to really tap into art and painting and stuff. And it's like, focus on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's what brings you joy. And that's, some of this stuff is like, I don't believe in half of it that the school systems are like teaching. And
yeah, I know. No wonder like we're so bored and just, going numb in our skulls. And we often joke about in the States, and I'm not sure how you guys do taxes, but like, they don't even teach you how to like pay taxes or anything in school, like nothing useful, not even for their own nonsense, like taxes. So you're like, you get out and you're like, what
do I do?
This? Yeah.
So many aspects of like getting out of high school and you're like, whoa, like what I need to like, if your parents didn't teach you how, or if you didn't take maybe home ec or something, like if you didn't learn how to like cook, how to get groceries, how to balance like your finances. There's so many different things that taxes, like that's a huge one, right? Where you're just literally like, how do I do life now? Like, I don't know. I just spent all this time, all like hours upon hours in these schools where I had to sit here and not move and listen.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you're unleashed into the world and you're like, I don't know how to do anything. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I think college was even, I did college, worse because I mean, there are good things at a college, but so much of it was just telling the teacher what they wanted to hear. And I was lucky where I did have a couple that actually like I kind of learned how to do things where okay, what they want to hear and get a grade and whatever, and just forget about it. Thankfully, I did have like one or two good teachers who wouldn't let me do that. And I'm really grateful for those teachers. But most of them, it's just like, we want you to repeat this same dogma that we've been repeating, and we do it this way. Anything else is wrong.
Yeah.
Which is why my favorite class was like creative writing, because then I got to enjoy, like express myself creatively, and I had such a great time doing it. Yeah. So.
And that is so true. Like there are a lot of people, like amazing teachers. There really is. I actually, when we were out collecting stuff for the Equinox today, this lady like jumped out of her car and she was like, "Are you guys foraging?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're just getting some stuff for the Equinox." And she's like, "Oh my God," she was so excited. And she was like, she's like, I'm a retired teacher, and and so she's got all, like, she was just talking about it, and she let us, like, she gave us some seeds from some flowers. She's like, do you like to plant like flowers? And I'm like, yeah. So she gave me some seeds, and she actually introduced me to this amazing, I haven't had time yet today, but this website of these moms, I think they're in Canada here, that are like, they're homeschooling, and they talk about like how they work like within nature and how they do their homeschooling. So I'm excited to look into that more. But that's just, just running into some random person on the street, and it was just so cool. I was just like, wow, I really love this. Like,
yeah, that's fantastic. I love
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
This is a sidetrack, but I was going for a walk today, and when I got to part of it, I was like, there was like a delivery truck behind me, and I was like, I want to take my shoes off, because normally I take my shoes off here to ground. Yeah. And I'm like, that delivery driver's gonna think I'm weird. Whatever.
Yeah.
I need to do it anyway. I don't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt great,
I think when more people see it, right, it becomes, and again, like, I like weird. So I'm like, I do that too. I'll walk my dog, and I just take off my shoes and I'll just carry them. Or sometimes when I'm walking home from work, I'm like, I've been in these shoes all day, sitting in front of a computer screen. I have like all my crystals laid out in front of me at work, like, that protect me from like the EMF. But it's like, when I'm walking home from work, I like take off my shoes and I don't care anymore. I'm like, it's because I talked about this last night. Like, our shoes are another thing that, like, it was designed to disconnect us from Mother Gaia, right?
Yeah.
We have this like disconnect right there. So yeah, I totally, people take off those shoes. Like, who cares? And that's the thing, is like, who cares what people think about you? Like, are you doing something for other people? Or are you doing it for what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, what brings you peace, right? Like, again, that's where, like, it's not selfishness. It's not I couldn't think of this word last night either, but it's when you're really in your truth and your sovereignty, you just start doing things without, as long as you're not doing something that's going to hurt somebody else, or like, anything like that. But like, that's when you're living in true alignment, right? You're living your joy, your peace, your happiness. And that's what it's all about. Like, we really need to get back to, and self-care.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, like, a big thing was during the I'm not sure, like, I'm gonna use certain words because I don't want to trigger anything, but like, during the situation that occurred the past couple of years, and the things that they wanted us to wear on our faces, and I was like, going into the grocery store, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. Like, this is not, doing this is hurting other people.
Yeah.
If I do this, I'm helping to create a culture that is causing harm to others. And that's the opposite of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Even though they're going to perceive what I am doing as, as what the media told them as the harmful thing. I'm going to stand in my courage, in my personal sovereignty, not wear that thing, to be an example, to show them, like, look, you have a right to breathe. Like,
yes. Yes. That was, it wasn't easy either. Yeah. Like, I even with my kids, like, I would not put one on them. It was like, you guys are not, because I did my research, right? Like, intuitive, I'm not gonna, in the beginning, I was, I was kind of like, oh my goodness, what is this? And I did even like get some cloth ones from a friend that was making them, and tried to wear it like one time. And it was like, I can't even breathe in this thing. And then when you start like, listening to your intuition and doing research, and it was like, oh, like this is the complete opposite of what they're telling us. And I was like, nope, not doing it. And I'm really grateful that I have friends as well who, like, same way, and they were very, like, they stood in their, like, all of us have tickets, which is ridiculous. Canada was really bad for like giving tickets.
They give you tickets. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, like they were $2,800 each. I've got 2 of them. My friend has like 3. There's some people in the Freedom group that had like 10. Like, it's just insane how like, and that's just in like the small city that I live in.
Yeah.
But it was like, I am not, and you know what? I mean, there were certain places that I just didn't go to, and these places I will never go back to again. Because I mean, if you're forcing this, that's not like you're going off of, you're invading somebody's free will and free choice. And so I won't spend my money at those places anymore.
Yeah.
But it was actually like, I didn't have, other than one incident, I didn't have any issues. Like my kids and I, we would go shopping, we just went places, and yeah, you get looks and you whatever, but like, like I said, I had one time where it was funny because like for the one summer, it was like lifted for like, I think for the summer, and then they brought them back in the fall. And it was like 2 days before it was being lifted, and I had these 2 guys behind me at the grocery store, and it got really nasty. They were like saying horrific things and just like yelling like to the whole store. And I was just laughing because it was just like, what are you going to do in 2 days? Like in 2 days, you're going to see other people without them. And like, what does it matter? Like, if you believe in these and you have your thing on, why does it matter if I don't? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I didn't have issues. Like, there was no issues. Like people actually, I found at stores, people actually treated me better because I could have a conversation with them. I would speak to them too. Like that was another thing I found throughout all that. People stopped talking to each other. They stopped looking at each other in the eye.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like people just would look down, and which was really sad, right? Like really sad to see that.
Right.
Again, which is another thing. I encourage you guys to like open up, you know, start conversations with people. Like it's just, we really need to I mean, there's a lot of trauma from these last couple of years. Like all of us have trauma from it. All of us have things that we had happened to us, we went through. But it's really like letting go of that and really like finding the love and the joy and the gratitude again. I mean, I choose now to look at these last couple of years and look at how much growth that I've gone through. I've gone through the most growth in this time frame than my whole entire life.
Yeah, likewise.
You know, and it's like the people I've connected with, the truth, my truth that I found, you know, like I said, my connection to God and source and my angel guides, like all of this is just like, I don't think any of that would have happened. I wouldn't be where I am right now if these last like 2.5 years didn't happen.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, you know, you can sit and focus on all the shit that happened.
Yeah.
Or focus on like the good stuff. There's always good and bad, right? In everything. So like, what are you choosing to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm really grateful that I had that.
Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. Mine's been pretty benign for the time being. But the growth has been tremendous, and as hard as it can be sometimes, you know, I appreciate you talking about working on making those reconnections now, because it is important now, and we're starting to get to a place where I think we're going to be able to do that more, and Source is going to start bringing more of those people into our lives. We've had this hermit phase for a while, and there were good things about it. But now, you know, I'm grateful that hopefully we can start to connect with more people who are like-minded, who are raising their vibrations, and who are raising the collective frequency of the planet. And man, I cannot wait to see where we go from here.
Me too. It is actually really exciting. And you know, like you were talking about, is I agree with that, because I feel like even a lot of people that may have pushed us out of society or excluded us from things or said horrific things to us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of awakening happening right now. There's a lot of truth coming out, you know, maybe not as fast as some of us would like, but also like, yeah, when he wants attention, he starts knocking things off. So like, as these things are, you know, coming out, and I mean, obviously it's going to take time. I mean, this stuff has been going on for like centuries upon centuries, right?
Right.
So it takes time to like, and also like, I truly believe that like, I mean, when I look at like different parts of my awakening, and there were certain parts that we were talking about this earlier that were so hard to take in.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you look at what's happened with little ones,
Yeah.
all of that like horrific stuff, like that was a really dark time, like that I had to go through.
For sure.
And I totally disconnected. Like I was like, I can't talk to people. I can't like, you know, but that was a big part of my like healing journey. Like I was able to like, you know, go into more meditative states, you know, really like connect with source and with God, and just to be like, what kind of a world, like, what are we living in? But then to find that light again, right? To find that the pure goodness that is out there, right? I mean, just look at the chat, like look at the people that we're meeting. There's a lot of like good, pure, like light beings out there.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of us, you know, kind of like woke up earlier so that we could be here as people now start awakening. I think it would be harder to awaken now, right? When you've gone through, you've done certain things, you've agreed to certain things.
Yeah.
And, you know, like it's like, this is where we really have to hold that compassion. You know, we can't be like, I told you so.
I know.
As much as we want to say, I told you so.
As much as we want to. Yeah.
Right? And just like, because that's not the energy that doesn't help anything, right? It's like, you really just need to be there, just hold space for people. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that might start coming to you and remembering like, oh, hey, you were that person that wasn't wearing a mask back then, and now all of a sudden I'm finding out this information, or, you know, you spoke about this or whatever, you know, and they might start remembering. I mean, at my work, we see every single day people that are injured from that. Every day. Like it is really overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it is like, unfortunately, it's a hard wake up for some people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just to like have compassion. Like, I can't sit there judging these people, right? Which, I mean, even a little while ago, I feel like I kind of was, you know, I was still like judging people wearing these, you know, I would get so mad.
I know.
And then
I would too. Yeah, I hear you.
Right? Like you get to this point again of like, why am I putting negative energy out? Because I'm no better. If I'm no better than the evil ones, if I'm putting negative energy out, that's not where I want to be. That's not the vibration I want to be at. And I really had to check myself. And I mean, there's still times where I get kind of caught up, and then it's like, okay, no. And I think too, I heard my kids say things, and that's where I was like, oh, they get that from me, you know?
Same here. Yeah.
Right?
That's a good checker. Yeah.
Our kids are like really good at putting us in check.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And like today, I'm still seeing people who are voluntarily wearing double masks and like driving in their cars with them on, and I'm just like, okay, this is what they're choosing. It's sad, but I, you know, send them love, and I hope that they can get out of it, because you know, at least like you know, at least I can do that. And maybe there was a time where like I honestly got into kind of not like a fist fight or anything like that, but kind of like I was in Philadelphia. My brother passed away during everything, and he didn't pass from like any like the medicine or anything like that. It was something unrelated, but I was there and I was in a shop, and I was wearing glasses at the time, and it was really hard to like have that on and be able to see because the glasses would fog up. And the lady who was running the shop was getting like, my mask would go down like a little bit like this over my nose. She was like, you need to cover your face. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm trying to cover it as much as I can. Like, what, and she's wearing like 2 masks, and I'm like, and she's behind like a piece of plastic and everything. And I'm like, do you really think that this is going to make a difference? Like, like I tried to like ask her I asked her some deliberately triggering questions, because I was like, okay, I'm angry at this person, but I'm not going to use it to insult them. I'm going to try to be constructive, and I'm going to try and ask some questions that are going to make them think. And I know that they're pressuring me to leave, so I'm going to buy something just to trigger them a little more. And, I don't know if that was the best way to handle it, but hopefully that like helped them to think about things a little bit more now. And, I think there's those who are just so asleep that they're still doing that. And it's sad, because like I kind of look at them as like, like the like trauma victims, like people who are just unable, like they could even have like the truth perfectly spelled out in front of them. And this, there's even like family members and people that I know who are still like, just they have it so ingrained in them that like I look at that as like, that's like trauma, based mind control. That's where they're coming from, and they don't know how to work out of it. And I'm really grateful that, I was able to, thanks to Source, like helping me lead myself out of this, was able to de-traumatize myself with so many things. I used to be like super OCD and stuff, like, and I probably, if I hadn't like gone through that, like maybe it started like 6-7 years ago, just like the general awakening, and started to realize stuff, like I would probably be a mask wearer still, because I was like washing my hands like multiple times and stuff like that. And like, now I'm like, I completely look at all that differently. Like, I want the good bacteria, and I'm not afraid of like, getting my hands dirty and stuff like that. So
it's the fear, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the fear is so controlling. Like
It is.
Next to love, that is like one of the most, like it's one of the strongest like emotions that somebody can be like controlled under, right? Is that fear. Like love is above it, but it's like fear is right. It's almost as powerful as love. Like love is I feel like one of the most powerful places you can be at, but fear is also which is why they pumped fear, right? It's why it was like, I mean, even now, I mean, I was asking one of my friends the other day, because all of a sudden last week when I was at work, it was like, I'm seeing more and more people come in wearing this. And I'm like, what's going on? I messaged her and I'm like, because I don't own a TV. And I was like, I'm like, is something being said? Like, are they pushing like more fear again? Like, why is this all of a sudden happening? Like, is it just, but I think too, is people forget that in the change of seasons, most people like you get sick. Like it's normal, because I look at sickness as a way for your body to shed. It's shedding different things. So like I now welcome sicknesses. I mean, are they always great? No. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I love being in it. No, but it's like I can look at it and know like it's shedding. And when you look at like the ascension, I really feel like, I mean, when I look at the area, even just now, it was my throat chakra that was like, really like attacked at this time, or whatever, you want to call, I don't know if I should have even said attacked, but that was like getting to me. And it's like, oh, well, maybe my throat chakra is being worked on, and, there's stuff coming out of that needs to be like let go of in order to, prepare it more for the ascension. And that's like, you look at fevers and stuff, right? Like how many people run to using
Tylenol.
Like, yeah, I haven't had Tylenol or Advil in my house for like, well, like when when before I had kids was when I woke up to like the westernized medical system, pharmaceuticals, like, and everything, like all the toxins, like in cleaning products, in like our beauty supplies, like in everything, food, all of that. I woke up to that aspect about like 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was like when I had kids, it was like none of that's even going to be in the house. I'm not even going to have it like available. Because there's so many different like traditional medicine, herbs, essential oils, homeopathy. Those are all things that they, like we said, they come from Mother Gaia. They're gifts from God. And they've been used for centuries upon centuries, right?
Yeah.
And it's just it's reconnecting to those things and realizing that you can do those things like fevers. Obviously you do have to watch, right? Like, right. I'm not saying this isn't like medical advice to people, but you know, a lot of people quickly want to like to bring down the fever, but a lot of times that's your body's way of pushing things. It's pushing stuff out.
Yeah.
And that's why there's the fever.
It's way of detoxing and getting it out. Yeah.
It's natural way of detoxing, you know?
Yeah. We're taught that like you're supposed to, you know, take this acetaminophen or Tylenol, and what that's doing, I mean, it's introducing something else into your body that has like the dyes and the other stuff. And I know too much acetaminophen can hurt the liver too. You know, instead of like letting the body work its way through it. And I watched this, there's this really good, it's like 2 hours long, but this incredibly good breakdown of the way that people live. Like, you know, during the summer, we're so used to eating like tons and tons of sugar and stuff like that. And so then we have flu season where, you know, all of a sudden everyone gets sick all the time, but these flu shots never do anything. And then it's because the body's detoxing from all of the, you know, alcohol and sugar and stuff and everything else that people were partying with during the summer. And,
yeah.
You know, yeah, it's really interesting, like learning more about like terrain theory and all that, you know. And like my own personal experiences. Another one that was demonized really badly was sovereign silver, or like colloidal silver. You know, and I've like, I know, I can remember the blue guy, which was like, you know, now I'm like, okay, that's obviously some kind of lie or propaganda, because I've tried the colloidal silver and it works like miraculously.
Yeah, I give it to my pets too. Like I put it in their water.
Oh wow, I'll have to think about.
Yeah, it's a really good one for pets. Yeah, that was one. That's, I mean, like I've been taking a lot of things right now this week, but that was it was like when I open, you know, because you forget sometimes, right? Like I find when other people are going through things, I can remember. When it's yourself, you sometimes forget. So I'm like, you know, taking my mushrooms and my artemisinin and different essential oils, my wild oregano. And then it was like, and like very high doses of D and C, zinc. And then I looked over and I was like, oh, silver, like, you know, and it was like, like as soon as I started taking, it's like I noticed like a huge difference. Like, it was like, oh yeah, like what of course, like,
you know, and I mean, it's a higher frequency metal and everything, and there's a reason that it's like there's all the like stories about it being used to ward off vampires and other things. So I even keep a silver coin under my water glass now. Just, I don't know, it just feels good. I don't know if it maybe it raises the frequency, but I like it.
I'm very, very big on programming water. So I definitely, I speak to my water. I've got crystals in my water, and I've got like words written, like love and gratitude on my water, like jugs and stuff. So yeah, definitely like doing things like that. I also work with, oh no, I can't think of his name right now, but I have his cards. He's got like body cards and mind cards. Oh, I can't think of his name. but you can program your water with those cards too, because you can like put them up next to your water and the frequency and like music, frequency, music, all of those things. So yeah, silver, having silver by your cup, of course, like 1000%, that will be like putting that good energy into your water for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. And then there was it Dr. Iwamoto who did the oh man, I'm so glad that that evidence came out, because now there's like a hard scientific, you know, process that we can point to that proves, you know, what we say, what we like, what vibration we put out is what is held by water. And you know, we're made of a lot of water.
Oh yeah, water is life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I just got that book because I'm gonna do that with my kids. I'm gonna go through that book with my kids.
oh, it's a great idea.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I may have to do that as well.
Yeah, right? Like it's awesome. Before we end, I wanted to share. So I'm very blessed to work where I do work and around some really amazing naturopath doctors and traditional Chinese medicine doctors. And my boss today, because we were talking about the change of season, and one of my other best friends that works with me was, you know, she was saying how she really struggles like with this time. And I mentioned how I had just ordered one of those sad lamps.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I think I've spent so much time this summer, like really taking in the sun gazing. And like this last while where I am, like we've already had like a lot of not sunny days. And it's like, oh, I can already feel this. So I was like, okay, I'm going to invest in it. I'm going to do it because for my health, like I really feel like I need to do this. But my boss was actually saying that St. John wort is a great herb, and you can get it in like tincture form for people who really struggle with the change of season, like going from summer to fall.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, I'm so glad you shared that today, because I'm going to have this talk with Justin. And I feel like it's perfect because I mean, it makes so much sense to talk about this during the equinox, because a lot of people do struggle this time of year, right? Which again, opens the door for sickness.
Right.
Know? When your vibration goes down, you're just opening that door, right? So, and I love how you spoke about, you know, it's so true, like all the things that you do in the summertime, you know, the things that you eat or all that kind of stuff, it makes sense why, you know, fall comes around and your body's just like, nope, get this out of me.
Yeah, it's natural. And
exactly.
Yeah. Body wants to be healthy. Our body wants to be healthy and wants to be clean and want to be harmonized with the earth and the natural good things that we have that have unfortunately been either demonized or completely like forgotten about or hidden or buried, you know, all that. And man, it's great that it's starting to come back. And I'm really grateful for your work and for your Telegram channel and your YouTube channel, because you're sharing so much of this information and getting it out there. And I've learned a lot just by looking at some of what you've been sharing. You know, even like I found out that recently that can we say the VIRUS word? Can we say that word?
I don't know.
Okay, I won't say it. But even those, like none of those have ever passed all 5 of Koch's postulates, which I learned recently, and I didn't know that. Like, and apparently they all go off. A lot of people point to Pasteur, the scientist Pasteur, but he was deliberately taking decomposing anaerobic material and injecting it into, you know, live subjects, and that was where he was getting a lot of his data from. And that was how he was proving these things. And so like even going back to like the very beginning of this theory of how they did all this, and it doesn't even track. And apparently he even confessed like years later in his journal that he that he forged all of that, that he, like, that's that. And I think that journal has been leaked recently through academia. I want to say within the last like 5 years or so, through a major university. So I think that that's one of those things that was for a long, long time hidden, and people still mostly don't know about it.
Yeah.
But I think it was one of those things that was hidden for such a long time. But now Pasteur's journal, where he confessed to what he did, has been released, and it's like a smoking gun, you know. So
there's
yeah,
so many things that you know, if you really just like take the time to like research it,
yeah,
your mind will be open to, like, I was just having that conversation with my daughter about you know, just, you know, the toxins in everyday things that people, you know, use on a daily basis.
yeah,
And it's, again, it's like, if you just take that time to like, what is this ingredient? I'm gonna look this up, you know. Like when I used to own my store, I researched things like crazy, and it was like your mind is just, it's crazy when you're like, how are companies allowed to do this?
yeah,
And I think, again, that's where a lot of people fall into the like, well, why would my government allow this? Or why would this company put it in if it's so toxic? Fluoride, like that's a huge one. Like
yeah,
on a daily basis, people are still brushing their teeth with fluoride.
yeah,
Like just go and, you know, do some research on fluoride and like how bad it is. And I mean, if you look at your third eye, right, like
yeah,
it's literally calcifying that, right? There's reasons why these things happen. And it's, again, we've given our power away to people, and our trust. We trust so freely in you know, governments, in healthcare, in the school systems, in the financial system. Like we just trust so easily without question. There's just
yeah,
no questions asked, right?
yeah. It's like if
And
it's legal or they're in charge, then they must be right, you know.
exactly, you know, it's just, it's like, and everything's at your fingertips. It's all there for you to research, you know. You just got to do it. It's taking your power back and being willing to like ask questions and come at it with like an open heart, an open mind, and to be willing to like have all these beliefs crumble and fall before you. You know, like it really is a tower moment. Like,
Yeah,
you know, if you do tarot and you know what the tower card means,
yeah.
it really is a tower moment when you start to like research things and find things out. I didn't know that about what you were talking, so I'm gonna look because I mean, it doesn't surprise me, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
I'll send you that video.
yeah,
It's a good one.
yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's yeah, like it blew my mind, and I thought I had understood things from a, you know, but there's so much more that I wasn't even aware of. And
yeah,
I've started like one thing that I've started doing is I've started oil pulling. Like I still brush my teeth with non-fluoride toothpaste, but I've noticed like anytime I'm having any problem with my teeth or my mouth, I mean I do it regularly every day, but anytime I'm having a problem, I'll do extra, and it goes away like within, you know, sometimes it's a little as a few hours or even at most a few days.
yeah.
And like the one time I got a filling, like I completely regretted it ever since, and I'm like, oh, why did I do this? Like, you
Oh yeah.
know, the
Well, and you know, even just something like that, like this is all natural stuff, right? And they've deemed like traditional medicine and traditional things as alternative,
yeah,
you know. And there's so many things that, you know, people may ask me about, and it's like, oh, you know, try this, you know, maybe essential oil or herb or homeo, whatever. And I always get people like, but is it safe? Like, is that, you know, are you sure? And it's like, well, you know, do your research. You know, you obviously need to do your own research, but also like, are you questioning other things like that? Because again, people don't, like, they'll pop a pill without even thinking about it
yeah,
because a doctor gave it to them,
yeah,
or the pharmacist gave it to them. And it's like, again, it's like, we've given away our sovereignty, right? We've given away our power to people, and this is the time now to truly like take your power back, find your truth, ask questions, always ask questions, you know, even anything we're talking about or other people are talking about, you know, if it sparks something, search it, research it, right? Like you can never stop learning. Like that's the amazing part of it. Like I finally really enjoy learning. Like I'm 40 years old and I'm like, wow, I finally like, there's things where I'm like, I can't wait to read this book or watch this video or, you know, this documentary or whatever. Cause it's so exciting to me to be like, what am I going to learn from this? You know, what do I resonate with? Whatever I don't, I just leave, you know, sometimes it's planting seeds. There may be something even 6 months ago that maybe I heard about and I didn't resonate with at that time. And now all of a sudden I'm like, oh, wait, somebody mentioned something about, you know, and it's just like your ball gets like rolling. It's like,
I was just going to say though, 40 years young. Because, you know.
Oh, true. I mean, like, that's another thing is like how long we really can live, you know, and I've never looked at age. Like, I mean, I'm a very old soul. Like, I've always connected with like older people, all different ages. Like, I don't see age. Like, I connect with people, and that's just how it is. Like, it's always been like that. And I truly feel like, I mean, again, so much stuff is coming out, so much stuff is going to be revealed. I feel like we will live way longer than we have, and it's a really amazing time to be alive. Like
it is, and like I have to remind, even when we're going through those hard phases, I have to remind myself, like, okay, we chose to come here right now.
I knew you were going to say that.
Like, this is the most incredible time in maybe at least thousands of years, maybe in all of human history, you know?
I agree.
Like it's, I mean, the closest thing I can think of is like maybe Lemuria and Atlantis, like that. I'm sure that was amazing too. And I've had, you know, remembering things like that, but just, there's a reason like that we chose to come here right now. And, you know, we're starting to experience things that we thought were only in movies and books and like, you know, and yet like, here we are. It's incredible.
It is incredible. Yeah. We'll definitely have to do another show because I feel like I could talk to you for like
absolutely. Same here.
And chat, I'm sorry I asked you questions and then I haven't been looking in the chat, so I will definitely go back and check out what you guys are saying. The chats are amazing. Like I absolutely love jumping on the chats from, you know, from different people that I watch, because this is where we're meeting our people, right? Like and this is where we find our tribe.
Like that hour on Mystic was with the name starts with J. That hour made my whole week better. I was like, oh my, like my tribe, like this is wonderful, you know. I
finally got on one of JC's after work today. I got one of his lives. A little bit. He had Woo Woo Dude, Julie, and Jay Snip was on there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So I was like, I had it on right after work, and I was again like, it was like, oh man, like that Beyond Mystic family is like another, you know, like it's definitely not the same without the Queen of Ravens.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, JC brings on, he definitely throughout all of this, he is the one that has opened me up to so many different, because he brings on so many different people.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm so thankful for him. And actually there was a show that the two of them did, and it must have been right around my 40th birthday. And it was actually a reading that she did for somebody else, but it just really spoke to me. And it was like, if you're feeling like, you know, you want to share something, or you want to, you know, start that YouTube channel, like just do it, you know, just go for it. And I was like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I had gotten booted off Facebook so long ago, and I miss being able to like share stuff that, you know, that was coming to me, or like, you know, downloads, like all that kind of stuff. And it was like, I'm just gonna do it. You know, I don't, you know, there's probably like nobody gonna watch me, but just to be able to speak it, like opening up that throat chakra and speaking it.
Yes.
And it's like, once I did, it's like, look at all these amazing people that I'm connecting with. And it's truly like, it's such a blessing. And yeah, so I have so much love and respect and gratitude for John Claude and the Queen of Ravens, and so many like Kristen and Jason, and, you know, so many amazing people that I've connected with, for sure.
Oh, for sure. Same here. Yeah, I just really, really appreciate them. It's amazing how they came along at just the right time, you know, and just I honestly, like, I see them as some of the new spiritual leaders on this journey, and I'm just so grateful. And they're inspiring so many other people and so many other leaders, and getting to watch the way your channel is growing, the way that Kristen and Jason's channel is growing, has been inspiring me to like start getting maybe get a channel together.
Good. You have so much wisdom and knowledge. Like I said, like anybody who's just jumping on now, like we're in a smaller group on Telegram together. And yeah, anytime I see that Justin has like done a little video clip or voice clip, I'm always like, what does he have to say?
Thank you so much.
So,
It really does inspire. It inspires me to speak out more and to share more, and so I'm really grateful for that. You know, and just it's amazing how far we've come. We've come from like, you know, I remember like at night with like the nightly news with Peter Jennings and stuff, and like this is what's going on in the world. Like, you know, my parents would watch it every night, and I'd be like, this is so boring.
Right? And now we've got people like Lily Nova, you know, opening us up to like our starseed family, and, you know, life on other planets like that. It's just, it is really amazing. Like, and yeah, like the more we get to talk about this, the more I feel like other people hear our experiences or things that we're talking about, and we feel less alone.
Yes.
You know, and we feel, it's just like this validation of like, holy shit, like that's happened to me, or like I experienced that, or like, oh my goodness, this makes sense why this is like happening. And that's again why this community is so important. Like, you know, speak your truth. It's not, you're not pushing it, you know, like I'm not trying to push anything. Like I almost said her name, but like the Queen of Ravens always said, like, nobody is your guru. Like nobody's above you. Nobody, like we're all equal. So it's like, you know, just speak your truth, shine your light, and your people will come to you. And, you know, we don't all have to be the same. It's just being able to like hold space with each other. And, you know, it's knowing that we're all unique, and we're all our own light.
Oh yeah.
Which is awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you.
This has been so amazing. I've loved being able to spend the equinox like this, speaking with you, with the, you know, the soul tribe and the chat here. And thank you so much for sharing that ritual, because I'm definitely going to do that with my kids tomorrow. I was going to say, I said I was going to do it tonight, but it's late now. So I think I'll save it till tomorrow.
That's fantastic. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's been so encouraging, and I'm just so grateful to share this time. And for anyone who's been watching, you know, thank you so much for your time, and I hope that this helps you on your journey. And yeah, let's do it. Let's go forward together. Let's see what happens. I'm excited. I'm excited to be on this journey with everybody. So
and when Justin gets his channel up, I'll make sure I share it on here so you guys can all go follow him.
Yeah, exactly.
But
thank you.
So, thank you so much. We'll definitely do this again. This is not going to be the last time.
Absolutely. Yeah,
for sure. Awesome. Well, thank you guys all so much. I wish you all a blessed Mabon and autumn equinox, and enjoy this, this beautiful time in the Libra energy with the love flowing from Venus. So
Yeah.
have an amazing night, and yeah, we'll see you guys soon.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste. Take care, everyone.